Today we're going to learn about segment addition and the segment addition postulate. So first of all, how could we find the entire length of this segment? So think about if we had this unknown length here, right, and I only had a ruler that was so long, I could measure from here to here and then from here to here. So how would I find the entire length? Well, I would just add those together. So I would just take 25 plus 14 to find my total length. So that would give me 39. That's what the segment addition postulate says. So really the main idea is you can take part 1 plus part 2 and get the whole segment. So that's the big idea there. So what we're going to do is we're going to write some equations here where we're just taking part 1 plus part 2 to get the whole segment. All right, so let's look at, we're going to use our segment names here. Okay, so we're going to have part 1 plus part 2 to equal the whole segment. So we're going to have QR plus RS to equal my whole segment, which name is QS. Okay, let's think about the next part. We have part 1 and part 2 to equal the whole thing. So I have XY plus YZ should equal the whole thing, which is XZ. Okay, so that's just looking at the symbols and not worrying about any numbers or anything. All right, so let's think about our past. What we were doing was part 1 plus part 2 equals the whole thing. So in our case, AB plus BC is going to have to equal AC. Now I know this one's a little bit simpler, but there's a process that we're building to here. So AB is actually equal to 10. BC is equal to 12, and we're still trying to find AC. So if I add those together, I have 22 equals AC. All right, so now let's try something a little different. It says find the length of AB. Well, AB here is our unknown. That's going to be part 1, which I'm actually going to call X because we don't know what it is. We've got part 2, and then we have the whole thing, right? The whole length. So this means that AB plus BC is going to equal AC. So AB is our unknown. That's X plus BC is 18 equals our whole thing, which is 30. So now it's just an algebra problem. I can subtract 18 from both sides, and I have X equals 12. All right, so this time we are going to have to label it on our own. So let's read it. If RS is 15 and ST is 9, what is RT? This is what we want to know. All right, so RS plus ST, part 1 plus part 2, has to equal RT. And you don't have to do this every time. I'm just trying to make, and the next time we won't. I'm just trying to make a connection here. So we have 15 plus 9 equals our unknown, or X. So 15 plus 9, that equals 24. So the whole length is 24. All right, so let's look at the next one. ST is 15. RT, that's the whole thing, equals 40. What is RS? So let's just call that X. So think about our part 1 and our part 2 and our whole thing, right? So that means that X, part 1 plus part 2, which is 15, has to equal 40. So I need to subtract 15 from both sides. So X is going to be 25, which means that RS is equal to 25. All right, for the next 2 or 3 problems here, we're just going to set up the problem. We're not going to actually solve. We're going to save that for tomorrow. So we're just setting it up. Part 1 plus part 2 equals the whole thing. Okay, so think about part 1 and 2, and then here's our whole thing. So our part 1, we have 4x plus 12x equals 32. And again, we're just going to leave it there. All right, let's look at the next part. Again, Part 1 plus part 2 equals the whole thing. So here's 1 and 2 and the whole thing. So 14 plus 3x minus 4 has to equal 4x plus 4. Tomorrow, we're going to work on solving that. Okay, so today is just the simpler ones and then setting up what our big equations are going to look like. Now you can work on your worksheet.